Hello, my name is Henry Hernandez, and today I'm going to be talking about spiritual wellness. I picked this one out of the seven wellnesses because I feel like I relate to it more than the other seven. I feel like my spirituality has a lot of effect on my daily lifestyle, and I saw this as an opportunity to pinpoint and focus and learn many different ideas to increase my spiritual wellness because I feel like it affects how I am emotionally as well. To start off, I want to talk about the preview. Um, I have five things listed. Number one, the definition of spiritual oneness. The number two, personal goal. Number three, smart goal settings. Week 1 through week 4. Number four, some of the summarized articles I used. And week five, oh, number five is lessons learned from my journey with this project. To start off, what is spiritual oneness? Spiritual oneness means feeling connected to something bigger than yourself. This could be God, nature, the universe, or just your own beliefs and purpose. It's about having meaning in your life and feeling peaceful inside. Personally, the spiritual oneness I have comes from my God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Others may have like with other gods, for example, like Allah or Buddha, or that's just the name of a few. There's plenty of other gods and religions that other people focus their spiritualness on. But me personally, it's on my God. And yeah, to continue, I want to talk about my personal goal. Um, it's to grow closer to God through my Catholic faith. I put this one because I was born into a Catholic family, and when I first started, I didn't really understand why I was in it and why I wasn't in others. And as I got, better with my spiritual wellness, I got to understand why and how and what it is to mean to be Catholic. And I, um, I feel like later on when I talk about my weeks, it's gonna help me a lot understand with my Catholic faith. But yeah, start each day with the prayer and reading a chapter or two with the Bible. And I feel like this is a good personal goal because I want to start incorporating that into my daily lifestyle to start off my day right. It could make me feel more peaceful, focused, and less stressed. I could also join a church group or a small Bible study to meet new people so I could feel supportive with my faith around other people, and I could feel encouraged to keep pursuing that. It also allows me to build stronger connections with others who share my faith as well. Yeah. It makes me become more happier, more patient, and calmer as a person, and handle life's challenges with more peace and strength. I'm going back to it helps me become more patient and calmer as a person. I feel like that could go with any situation in my life. I feel like that is true because I remember I used to live my life very violent and negative. Like for example, with any situation, like if I'm driving and someone cuts me off, I always take it as an offense. Like it's always negative. But with my spiritual wellness and with my growth, I could be more patient and be more understanding that they might have somewhere to be. God forbid something bad happened, that they're rushing to the hospital and they don't mean no disrespect by it. And I feel like that's a good way to go about in life and not feel or take everything so negative. Try to be more understanding. And I feel like this is a way that could help, me and other people. I want to talk about my 4 weeks. For my first week, I want to talk about I want to focus on starting simple and building a routine. And I feel like starting simple is really important because if you go too hard, it could discourage some people. And that might be me. Like, for example, one of the other wellnesses was physical wellness or like working out. And I've had trouble starting to work out because I feel like every time I do start working out, I go too hard. But I feel like I just need to create a routine that I could follow, and it's just a better lifestyle for me. And I feel like I could apply this to my spiritual wellness, so I won't go too overboard. And that's why spend about 15 minutes each morning with a prayer, Bible readings, and quiet time with God. To build a strong foundation for my journey. And with this time for my quiet times with God, I can use this time to calm down before the day starts. And another thing that is also helpful for spiritual wellness, not just for me but for other people, is meditation. You know, I put in parentheses like the NHS suggests. NHS is one of the articles I used, and they give us tips to sit quietly, focus on breathing, and essentially the goal is to figure out what works best and learn to slow down and connect with God better. That's the main goal for this whole week process journey, or for week one, is to learn what works for me and what doesn't, so I could continue on and enjoy this journey instead of it being a burden on me. To continue for my second week, I want to increase my quiet time to 20 minutes, 10 minutes for prayer and writing in a notebook. Um, Writing in a notebook, I essentially mean writing down my prayers, so I won't forget for later on. I'll explain more on week 4. 5-minute readings of the Bible, throughout the day, 5 minutes of breathing exercises to clear my head. That's more on the meditation side. And start writing out prayers inspired by Tracy Miles, one of the authors from the other articles I used. Is to stay focused, and the goal is to feel more calm, focused, and connected to God throughout the day. Yeah. To continue with week 3, I want to continue daily quiet time with prayer. I want to stay strong because I feel like on this week, I don't feel kind of discouraged to do things, but I want to start writing down 3 things that I'm thankful for each night. I feel like it's very easy to take things for granted. Something simple as like a t-shirt. I'm very grateful that I have clothes to wear. I know there's some people out there that aren't fortunate as me, and it's sad to know, but it's true. And I feel like we should all be thankful for the little things. Another thing I put is to go to church this week, because I was raised in a family where we don't really go to church every week when we're really supposed to. And I'm trying to build that habit. And especially with my sister, I'm trying to go to church every week so she could be the person that could support, my intentions on building a routine. I could join a small group or Bible study. Um, and I put, even if I don't join it yet, I want to explore the idea, because I feel like for me, I get discouraged a lot with speaking my mind and opinions. And I feel like a Bible study or a small group I talk to people isn't really my thing. But the idea behind it is wonderful. I really like it. And I want to keep in mind Tracy Miles' advice about surrounding myself with people who support my faith, because you are who you hang out with. I feel like if I do hang out with people that do support my faith, it could help and build more on my spiritual wellness and help me grow. And this goal was to feel more connected, supported, and be more positive. For my fourth and final week, I want to reflect on week 1 to week 4 on my spiritual journey. For example, I want to read through past notes and prayers in my notebook. I want to read my prayers to see how far I've gone, what I ask, how detailed I get, and how I talk to God. I like to look back at it and just see how much I've, grown. And I want to try a longer quiet time in 25 minutes. I encourage everybody to just sitting in quiet and silence, especially with God. Because me personally, when I do it, I feel calm and grateful that I do have a God that listens to me and makes me feel comfort with myself as well. In myself, I mean, sorry. Um, I think about how meditation and prayers have affected me spiritually and emotionally. I'm really heavy on the meditation side because back then I was a hater in meditation. I always thought that, meditation, yoga, um, it just wasn't for me. I always thought that was a bit weird, not to throw any hate towards them, but the people that do that. But ever since I tried it, it really helped me, especially when I feel anxious and have anxiety and just feel nervous. It really helps me calm down. And I want to write a final prayer or a letter to God to reflect and give thanks. Obviously, this isn't going to be my final prayer, but I would really like to do one just to reflect and just summarize everything that happened in my journey of these 4 weeks. And my main goal for this week is to recognize progress, express gratitude, and understand how I've changed spiritually and how far I've grown. To summarize my two articles, the two articles I essentially picked were just tips that could help me pray and meditate. For the praying one, it just helped me, create a better habit on praying, how to pray, especially the quiet time. This is where I got the idea from. And there's in the notebook. This one really helped me because it helped me reflect fourth week. Yeah. And then for the meditation for beginners, this one helped me because I didn't know anything about meditation. And it just gives you tips as well as as the praying one. It gave you tips, and it just essentially says that you're not supposed to have anything, just you, a quiet space, and an open mind. And it really helped me. As I said before, it helped me when I was anxious and nervous, and I feel like it helped everybody. And everybody should just be open mind to it, have an open mind to it. Yeah. One thing I want to incorporate in my presentation is lessons I've learned throughout my journey. I want to talk about laziness and judgment. First thing with laziness, um, everybody's lazy, but I want to talk about me. I've been lazy in my life, and I feel like looking back at it now, this assignment has helped me, recognize these faults that I have. But it's basically me saying to God that there's no significance, importance in life and things that we do if we're all gonna die. As blunt as it sounds, it's true. And what's the like? Why should things matter if we're not gonna take things later on when we die? We always leave it here, and and we just don't develop anything, with our well-being. We just keep, going down progressively. But God says no. We are supposed to try. We are supposed to help develop our wellnesses and develop different skills, to grow and build a better relationship with Him. And when you build a relationship with Him, you get comfort within yourself. And I feel like that's really important. And with going on about life, just being comfortable with who you are as a person. The other thing I want to emphasize on is judgment. When I was going through ideas with this topic, I came to judgment through a video of Father Lazarus. He's a priest that's really popular online, and he essentially tells a story that when he was out eating, that there's this homeless man asking for $1, and everybody, including myself, we think about what they're gonna do with that dollar. They're probably gonna do drugs, do something bad. So we neglect them. We don't give them $1. And he was basically saying that story that he didn't give him $1 because he thought he was going to do something bad with it. And the homeless man went to another homeless man. And the other homeless man did give him the $1. And it was more of a self-reflection story on how bad we are, and how quick we are to judge others, especially to the people in need. And he self-reflected on why does God give him money and we don't share when we waste our money on things we're not supposed to waste on, or things that are bad for ourselves, like junk food or movie subscriptions that help us become more lazy. But we should really be more helpful and have the intent of love. And this self-reflected on me because I need to be a better person, especially to the ones in need. I'm quick to judge when I shouldn't be judging. But I hope this story and this presentation helped you guys to grow more spiritually within yourself.